Hello everyone, welcome to today's session on data visualization using Python. I am Abhishek S. Rao, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Information Science and Engineering at NMM Institute of Technology, NITTE. So coming back to the topic, visualization in Python is possibly using multiple package. Some of the most widely used packages are, as we all know, those are Matplotlib, Seaborn, and also the Plotly. For very simplistic visualization purpose, we can also make use of Pandas package as well. So Matplotlib is a 2D plotting library using which we can do a variety of charts like bar chart, pie charts, as well as scatter plots. Seaborn is primarily used for statistical data visualization, and it is actually a visualization package or a library that is based on the Matplotlib. It provides high-level interface for drawing attractive statistical graphs, and Seaborn has more features over look and feel as compared to the Matplotlib. Similarly, the PyPlot, it is also the submodule within the Matplotlib and one of the most important submodules used for statistical plotting. The add-on advantage of Plotly over Matplotlib as well as Seaborn is that it has a wide array of applications where you can make use of Plotly for dynamic nature of data visualizations. Right? So in this session, I'm going to concentrate on a single package, that is Seaborn. For all the examples I take in the data visualization. The dataset that I use for my analysis will be the automobile.csv dataset, and this dataset is borrowed from the Kaggle dataset website. And this is where I borrowed the dataset from the Kaggle repository, wherein you can see the information of that. We have 26 columns, that is 26 attributes are there, 201 instances are there in this particular dataset. Okay. So based on this dataset, we will see how we can visualize the data. First, let us discuss about the packages which are required for our study. So first, let me introduce three packages. One is Panda, Seaborn, and Matplotlib. First, let us import all the packages. Import pandas as PD. This is the common nomenclature which we use for pandas as PD. Similarly, we will import the Seaborn as well. Import Seaborn as SNS. Similarly, import Matplotlib dot pyplot. So these are the three packages which are required for our study. So first, let us execute these three packages. In Shift Enter, or you can make use of that icon to execute it. And this is the working directory which I'm using it, guys. I'm using F drive, and there is a folder or a working directory, a data visualization, and this is the name of the Python file, datavisuals.py. And you can see that it is there in F drive data visualizer, and this is the CSV file or data set which we are going to consider for our study, automobile data set. And you can see in this data set we have around 26 columns, and labeling the normalized losses, the make of the car like Audi, BMW. We have the fuel types like gas and diesels, okay, as you can see here. And we have aspiration like a standard and turbo, a number of doors for the car, 2, 4, and very important, the body style of the car, especially the convertible, hatchback, sedan, wagon, hardtop. These are the few of the body styles for each cars. We have drive wheels, we have engine location front and rear, we have wheelbase, length, width, height, engine type, number of cylinders, engine size, fuel style, the bore, the stroke, the compression, horsepower, city MPG, highway MPG, and the price. So these are few of the attributes from the automobile CSV file, and altogether we have around 201 instances and 26 columns. So based on this data set, we are going to try to analyze the information about the data, as well as we will try to understand the relationship among these attributes. Right? So coming back to the editor, we are using Spider editor for this session, using Python 3.7 version. So now it's time to upload our data set. As we can see that we are already set the working directory. Now it's time to upload our data set. So we do it using pandas library pd.read_csv. We use automobile.csv, automobile.csv. Okay, and we store it in a variable called auto. How we upload our data set, and once we execute this line, we can see the data frame over here in the variable explorer. Okay, just have a look here in the variable explorer. You can see the data frame, and when we double click on this, you can see the data frame. As you can see, the index starting from the first column is always an index, and you can see all the attributes as well as instances has been loaded in the data frame, right? So data frame is loaded successfully. It's taking time to load. Okay, so coming back to the topic, now let me just show you the head part of the data frame. We just type auto.head. Just to give you a small information about that, so you can see the first 5 rows been displayed with using 26 columns, and these are all the data what we have it in a data frame. So actually this method will return the top 5 rows of the data frame. Now, what are the different types of visualization that I needed for analyzing a data set? Primarily, there are 3 types of visualization is what we will be focusing in this session, starting with the univariate distribution, bivariate, and multivariate analysis or a distribution. Actually, this univariate, bivariate, and multivariate analysis are one of the basic steps that we perform in the exploratory data analysis. This helps us to understand more about the data and also helps in analyzing the data in implementing the machine learning models, right? So looking at how the data is distributed or how the variable distribution is present for a single variable within our data set, like looking at specific variables within the data set and analyzing them at a univariate structure. Okay, so for example, if I want to give you in a given data set, if I have a single feature, then we can say it as a univariate analysis. That means you are going to analyze the single feature of the data set. So that is what we call it as a univariate analysis. In same case, if there are 2 features, so that means we are going to consider 2 attributes from the single data set, we say it as a bivariate analysis. Right? Here basically we are trying to find the relationship between the 2 features. Okay, in a single features we can see the frequency or a distribution of the data with respect to that particular variables. So these kind of univariate and bivariate analysis can be easily done using Seaborn. And if we have more than the 2 features, then Seaborn library will help us to solve this problem as well, as it helps us in analyzing the multiple features in our data set. For that, we use various kinds of plot, like distribution plot, we call it as a dist plot. We have joint plot, we have pair plot. Okay, so this distribution plot is highly used for univariate analysis, joint plot for the bivariate, and for multivariate we usually use the pair plots. Right? If I have more than 2 features, then we go for the pair plot analysis. So very first visualization in understanding how the distribution of the data is for a single variable, we can visualize using a histogram. But for this analysis, I'm going to consider it as a dist plot. Okay, so let me see what is actually this dist plot is all about. Dist plot is also known as distribution plot. So these dist plot are used to do univariate analysis, which I already mentioned, on a continuous or a numerical data. Continuous or a numerical data, right? So dist plot is basically a combination of three different graphs on a single graph. So these three graphs are, first one is histogram, the second graph is about KD, that is kernel density estimation. We usually also call it as a PDF, probability density function, and the third one is a rug plot. Okay, so in the graph, the kernel density estimation, which is used to plot the probability density function, and the histogram, which will show the distribution of the numerical data. Okay, so what I'll do means I'll just execute the distribution plot. So using SNS library, sns.distplot. Okay, using distplot, I need to call the data frame, and from the data frame, we need to target to the single variable, which is continuous variable or a numerical data. Okay, so in the dist plot, let me take a auto data frame. In the auto data frame, I'm going to consider the normalized losses, which is the firstmost variable in the data set. Normalized loss, normalized underscore losses. Okay, so this is the single variable I'm going to take it. So let us see what we are going to analyze from the visualization. To execute this, I need to call the plt dot show. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll execute this line in the console so that you can see the output properly. Okay, yes, so this is the output what we got it here. So as you can see, the bins are automatically created. These are all the bins, 50, 100, 152, and these are automatically been created for the single variable, and the bins are plotted against the frequencies of values. And you can also see the kernel density function. The curve you can see, this is the kernel density function is as well plotted, right? Now this is the histogram. As you can see, this is the histogram, this is the kernel density function, and there is a missing of rug plot. By default, the rug plots are set to false. Okay, so now what we'll do, now let us see only the histogram without having a KD estimation, that is kernel density estimation. So if you want to do the same, then we will make use of dist plot, and you have to make sure KD equal to false. Kernel density function will set it to false. And if you would also love to see the rug plot, then we can make use of rug equal to true. Okay, now execute the same line here. Execute it and see the difference. What you can see here, the KD is missing. You can see the histograms properly, as well as you can also see the rugs here. Can you see the bottom vertical lines over here? These are called as rugs. Actually, this rug is the number of observations that are plotted within these bins. It shows a sequence or a frequency of values. Each line indicates the single observation. So this will give a clear picture with respect to the histograms, right? You can see number of observations in each bin. The more dense the set of lines, you can see these are the set of, these are more dense here. That you see means that are more concentration of observation in that region, right? And here you can see there is a less dense. That means the observations are very less towards the end of the histograms here. I hope you got the point over here, right? So this is all about the distribution plot. You can see the histograms as well as you can see the KD here, right? You can also see here, here the height of the histogram is very high with respect to the normalized loss. So you can see for the bin 100, it is giving the high frequency over here. And also you can see the probability distribution of the frequencies is also high at this particular level, and it's getting lower in the last levels. So this will give you the clear distribution of the data of in a single variable. So that is why we use a dist plot, and these are the rugs over here, right? So now let us look at the bivariate analysis. To do this, we have a joint plot. Okay, so let me show you the joint plot here now. So now this joint plot will draw a plot of two variables with bivariate and univariate graphs. It allows us to study the relationship between the two numeric values. Okay, so first of all, we'll execute that using SNS dot joint plot of the data frame auto, and we are passing the two variables. So for example, let me consider engine size. Let me consider the engine size, as well as let me go for engine size and the horsepower. Right? We have two variables and both are continuous variables over here. Let me take that as an attribute here. So engine size, engine underscore size, and we will go for another variable which is a horsepower. Okay. So after that, we will display it using pyplot. Now we'll execute this in the console. Let us see what we get. Yes. So we can see that the histogram is created for the engine size, and also the histogram is created for the horsepower. This is the histogram for the horsepower, and this is the histogram for the engine size. And also we can see the scatter plot over here, scatter plot as well. Right? It is created between the engine size and the horsepower. We can also see the correlation coefficient among them. So how they are correlated to each other, and you can see some of the outliers which is very far from the distribution of this data set. Right? As you can see, the linear relationship between these two variables are slightly on the higher side. Even though we see few outliers in the visualization, but predominantly we see the decent amount of positive correlation. Even in the histogram show, you will be able to understand how these variables are at a individual level and also its patterns. Right? So now if I use an extra attribute, say kind equal to hex, then we can see it as in this particular way. I hope you got this point. We have x-axis engine size, we have y-axis horsepower. This is a scatter plot where we can see the normal distribution of the data among themselves, and also to see the individual distribution of the data, we can also see the histograms as well. Right? Now what I'm going to do means I'm just going to add an extra attribute which is a hex. Okay, so let us say kind equal to hex. Extra attribute kind equal to hex. Now let us see what is the change we get in the visualization. Yes. So what you can see here, you can see the instead of plots for individual observations, we can see a hex plots over here, which is a concentration of hexagons. So wherever the hexagons are darker in color, it indicates a high concentration of the observations. And also you can see that the number of observations are getting decreased. The color of the hexagons also disappears. Right? So this is all about the joint plot. I hope you understand by this. Okay. So next we will see how to create a pair plot for the multivariate distribution between the multiple continuous variables. So for that, let me type the SNS dot pair plot, right? Pair plot of the data frame. So we can take any variables. What we do here, let me consider more than two features, right? So first I will take as usual normalized loss, normalized underscore losses. Okay. After that, let me take then the second one is a maybe the engine size. I will take engine size. Okay. The third one, let me consider the horsepower. Now you got a clear picture here. Brackets, one more bracket for this, because this comes within the data frame, right? And after that, PLT dot show. Now let us visualize the pair plot for the multivariate analysis. Actually, this visualization looks very beautiful when compared to the dist plot as well as the joint plot. What you can see here, as you can see the output, that the matrix of visualizations are created here. Matrix of visualization, right? Here you can see the variables are on the y-axis and x-axis. You can see the normalized losses, engine size, horsepower, as well as you can see the same variables in the y-axis, horsepower, engine size, and normalized losses. Right? The x-axis and y-axis, these are intersecting, hence we have a histogram plotted in the diagram. You can see here very clearly you can see the normalized loss, you have a histogram. Engine size, you have one more histogram. Horsepower, another is a horsepower. Okay, horsepower and one more horsepower, you have another histogram. So histograms are drawn in diagonal, and you can see the upper triangle and the lower triangle. This is called upper triangle and this is the lower triangle. So what are these actually? These are nothing but the mirrors of each other. Okay, so this plot is same as this plot, this plot is same as this plot, and this is as same as this plot. As you can see, the scatter plots is provided between the normalized losses and engine size, as well as normalized losses and horsepower, and so on. Thus, using a pair plot, you will be able to create a single visual. This is a single visual that talks about the multivariate analysis, and at the same time understand this single distribution using the diagonal histograms. That means you are going to get to know the single distribution of the value using histogram, as well as you can also understand the relationship among the variables using the scatter plot as well as in a single graph. Right? So this is how we can visualize using the pair plots. Right? Now we'll see how do we create a 2D plot with one variable as categorical and another with the continuous. As of now, what we have done, both. We have taken both variable as a continuous variable. Now we'll see one as a categorical, another one as a continuous variable. In order to start up, we will draw the strip plot. Okay, so let us execute the strip plot. SNS dot strip plot of, consider the data frame. So let me take a different attribute. Let me search for that attribute. Which one I'll take? I want one categorical variable, right? So let me check it from the beginning. Yeah, we have one categorical variable, fuel type, wherein we can easily understand there are two types of fuel types, gas and diesel. right? Gas and air. So I will consider this as a categorical variable, and another I will let me consider as a horsepower itself. Okay, because these are the continuous variables. So I'm going to match the fuel type and the horsepower. Fuel type being the categorical variable and horsepower being the continuous variable. So fuel type, okay, and one more of horsepower. Now let us see the strip plot with respect to this visualization. Okay, so plt dot show. So I need to execute this. So let me execute it in a console. So you can see that for each and everything I'm executing in the console, or else what happens means all the graphs are getting displayed. It will take enough time to display each and every graph. That's the reason I'm going to execute it in a console. Let us see the output for this strip plot. Yes, strip plot visualization is displayed here. So here you can see the two categories are created in the x-axis. So one is gas, another is a diesel, and then you have a set of continuous variables here. Set of continuous variable which shows the plots as dots. This is called as ordered collection of scatter plots. Ordered collection of scatter. So this type of plot is actually not effective by itself, right? So we need to do some small adjustment with this plot in order to make it more readable and understandable. As you can see, there are so many plots which are actually overlapping each other. So it will be very difficult to any individual to actually analyze the data in a very effective manner. So what I do is I add another variable called as jitter. Okay, let us see, using jitter, are we able to analyze this data in a better way or not? Or is it sufficient enough to use that particular variable? Let us use that variable called jitter. Okay, so what I do is I use jitter equal to true. I'll make it as a true, and let me see, is there any variations in the output? Okay, so I'll execute the same code, just a new attribute has been added. Yes, I think now it's quite better comparatively to the normal strip plot without using a jitter. Okay, so here jitter creates a distribution of the data so that you will be able to look at the concentration of observations here. There in each location. This tells me that the amount of concentration in terms of horsepower is generally higher. On the lower side. You can see for the gas vehicle, higher in the lower side means that cars with the lower horsepower are much greater in terms of frequencies. In this data set. As you can also see, there is an imbalance in terms of proportion between the gas and the diesel vehicles here. The number of diesel vehicles are very much on the lower side when compared to the number of gas vehicles. So in this plot you see there is a overlapping of plots. Still there is a overlapping of plots, right? To avoid this we can make use of a swarm plot. That is why we are using swarm plots. Okay, from the normal strip plot without using jitter we see this. There is a huge concentration of this. Both the graphs are looking very similar, but the jitter, once we use jitter, it is quite better comparatively to the normal strip plots. Now what happens if I use a swarm plot? Just it will never allow any particular strip plot to overlap each other. Let us see that. So I will use one more data visualization called a swarm plot using SNS dot swarm plot. Okay, using swarm plot, use a data frame. So I'll use the same attribute so that you can have a differentiation among these two. So I will use the fuel type as a categorical variable, as well as I will use the continuous variable, that is horsepower. Okay, and plt dot show. So now let me execute this. I'll copy this and I'll put it here. Let me see the output for this first. So what I get here, yes, Can you see the output here? So since there is no overlapping of points here, you can see there is no overlapping of points here in SWAM plot. The SWAM plot looks much better in terms of understanding the frequency of the values within each level rather than a jitter plot. I hope you got a clear-cut idea using the SWAM plot than the strip plots, right? Okay, the next type of visualization we are going to use in using a categorical variable as well as the continuous variable is a box plot, which is very famous visualization, highly used. Okay, let us see that also for this given data set. I hope you understand for this SWAM this plotting. You can see there is there's no overlapping of any kind of data here, right? Each and every frequencies, you can see the data distribution, you can see it very clear, and it will be very easy for anyone to analyze the data with respect to his data set. So now the next type of visualization using the same, the categorical and continuous, we'll say look into the box plot. Okay, so let us see the box plot. So I hope the box plots are very effective when you consider it in comparing the different distributions between the different features. Okay, so let us see the SNS dot box plot. Okay, box plot, and using the data frame auto. So I'll be using the number of let me take another variable, number of doors I'll take. Okay, the number of doors, we have 2 doors and 4 doors. The number of doors as a one variable. Another variable will be the continuous variable, which will be the horsepower. You can see the number of doors here, number of doors, which is categorical, and this is the horsepower, which is the continuous variable. So let us see the output for this plt.show. Let us see the box plot and what you can see here the number of doors will be in the x-axis 2 and 4, and the horsepower you can see it in the y-axis. As you can see, the two box plots are created here, one with the 2 doors, another with the 4 doors. The minimum and the maximum are these 2 whiskers. You can see this minimum and the maximum are these 2 whisker plots also, some people will call it as, right? Now the minimum and the maximum of these 2 whiskers, and that you see, and lower line of the box, you can see the lower line of the box, this is called as quartile 1, and the upper line is called as a quartile 3. So this is 25% of the data, this is the 75% of the data, and the line that you see in between the box, this is nothing but the median, or 50% also you can call it. Okay, so depending upon the data what we got, this is the minimum value we have, this is the maximum value we got, this is called a whisker plotting, and we have a box plot, and in that we have the 3 quartiles, quartile 1, quartile 2 and quartile 3. Quartile 1 is 25%, 50% and the 75%. As you can see, the distribution are skewed, that is something which is noticeable. Entire distributions are skewed here. So these are probably the outliers. These are probably the outliers that do not follow the rule of 1.5 times the interquartile range. Interquartile range is the Q3 minus Q1. Okay, interquartile means the quartile 3 minus quartile 1, that is the mean value, median value, we call it as the interquartile range. So what happens here, the outliers that do not follow the rule of 1.5 times the interquartile range, right? Interquartile range is the difference between the Q3 and Q1, and the distance from the 75% of this to this observation is more than the 1.5 times the interquartile range distance. If that's the case, this will be automatically considered as the outliers by the box plot. Okay, So box plot will be useful if you are trying to analyze the outliers in that, as well as you can, if anybody wants to know the what is the minimum value, maximum value, as well as you can, if you'd like to see the probability of the values with respect to the 25%, 50%, 70%, and the data distributions, and also if you would like to analyze the outliers in the data set, then box plot plays a major role in this case, right? So this is all about the box plot. Let me take you to the next visualization step, which is bar plot. Okay, so next type of visualization we use is a bar plot. So bar plot is very common and a familiar style of plot that accomplishes the goal in terms of showing the volume of things or the amount of occurrences in terms of a bar graphs, right? In Seaborn, the bar plot function operates on the complete data set and shows an arbitrary estimate using the mean by default. Okay, so whenever you have the multiple observations in each category, for example, let us assume there are different types of engine placements, or let's say that within the doors there are 2 or 4 doors, and within the displacement aspects there are multiple categories within them. When there are such multiple categories in the observation, and in each category it also uses a concept of bootstrapping or aggregation to compute a confidence interval around the estimated value and plotting using the error bars. Okay, so these error bars are shown on the top of the bar plot, which talks about the confidence intervals of the values. When there is a good amount of dispersion in information, it also shows a confidence interval. Bar plots include 0 in the quantitative axis range, and they are good choice when 0 is a meaningful value for the quantitative variable. Like for example, when you have a temperature in Celsius, 0 is a meaningful value there, correct? So hence the bar plots are better choice in this particular visualization. Now let us go and create a bar plot. Okay, so using the same library, SNS.bar plot, we'll use a data frame auto. So let me take a new variable body style. Okay, let me take a new variable body style so that we can analyze all the variables in the given data set. Body style. Let me take another feature. I'll consider horsepower, the continuous variable horsepower. Okay, so we'll see this first. After that we'll make use of hue as well. Okay, so first we'll see without using the hue. plt.show. Let us see the bar plot now for the different body styles we have. Yes, so it is displayed here, guys. As you can see, there are 5 different types of body styles here. 5 different types of body styles, which are the one is convertible, hatchback, sedan, wagon, and hardtop. And these lines that you see at the top of these bars, these are nothing but the confidence intervals that are created for the distribution of the information. So this gives you a good enough idea in terms of how the data is dispersed within each and every type. Okay. Now let us add a new variable called hue. Now let us see what is this hue in Seaborn. Hue is one of the main properties of a color called as color appearance parameters. So in Seaborn, the hue parameter determines which column in the data frame should be used for color encoding. Now what I'll do is I'll just add a new variable called as hue. Okay, so just what I'll do is here itself hue equal to auto data frame. Okay, so I'll add engine location here. With respect to engine location, we'll see the color parameters here. It will give the wide distribution of the data, and it will help any individual to analyze the data in a better manner, because this is all about the color codes here. So hue equal to auto of engine location. Now the same code, we'll see the execution, we'll see the output with respect to this. Okay. As you can see, there are two locations being given here, front and the rear. So these are the two types of engine location. Two types of engine location. For both the front and rear, you see that two bar plots are created. Two bar plots are created. One with blue color and another with orange color here. Correct? So this is for front engine location and this is for rear end. Correct? However, you see one for hatchback, sedan and wagon. Only for the convertible and hardtop, you have two bar plots. Okay, rest of them you have only one. Okay, it means that they don't have any rear engines and they have only front engines. And it is a known fact, guys, that hatchback, wagon and sedan belongs to economic cars, which will be highly used by the middle class people. Convertible hardtops belongs to the premium cars. So within the bar plot, there is a special case which you can create or use. Instead of showing a continuous variable no, on the y-axis, sometimes you might want to look at the frequencies of the observations for a set of categorical variables or for a single categorical variable. In this case, we can also create a count plot instead of a bar plot. Okay, so let us see how to use a count plot. I'll use a SNS dot count plot instead of bar plot. Let us see the variation in the visualization with respect to count plot and the bar plot. Okay, so the first one is auto data frame. We make use of the body style here. Okay, so and also we can make use of hue. Okay, I'll make use of hue equal to auto of engine underscore location. Okay, after that plt dot show. Let me execute the count plot now and let us see the difference between the count plot and the bar plot. So what you can see here, we also have the engine location front and rear, and you can see this once again gives you a count of observations for front as well as the rear when it comes to all the different types of models. And for the convertible, you can see the front and rear. This is nothing but the count of observations. So with respect to the bar and with respect to the count, this is the difference what you find. So I hope all of you got the exact difference between the bar plot as well as the count plot. And the last visualization tool what we see in this session is a point plot. Okay, this is the next type of plot we can create is a point plot. So point plot differs from a bar plot in a very slight way, that instead of showing you a bars, it shows you a single point which shows the highest value that of a bar plot. It also shows you the confidence interval if applicable for that particular category of information. So one addition feature is that it connects the value together so that you have a line trend that is shown for you. If you create a point plot in terms of adding a hue as well, it connects the hue specially and or separately, and hence you will be able to see the multiple lines that connect it with the similar hues together. Okay, so that is the specialty of a point plot. So let me create a point plot for you for the same data set. So that is SNS dot point plot, SNS of the point plot with respect to the data frame auto. I'll take fuel system as of now. Fuel system, you can take any other variable as well. Fuel system with and another variable will be horsepower. Okay, horsepower, and I will consider hue as well. Let us see the thing. Hue equal to auto of number of doors. Let me consider number of doors, number of cylinders as well. No problem. Number of doors. Okay. Then plt dot show. Let me execute this in the console. We'll see the output and we'll analyze the output. So as you can see, the point plots are all joined together. You can see the line between each and every point plots. The number of dots are 2 and 4, which are being colored using the hues, that is the blue color for the 2 dots and the orange for the for the 4 dots. As you can see, the point plots are all joined together, and you see a very good distribution. You see and also you can see some disconnection between the orange dots. That is because of missing information that you have for a fuel system. So if you have the complete information, you can also see the connectivity of the lines for these hues as well. Okay. So instead of bar plot, you can also make use of these point plots as well. I hope you got enough idea regarding different basic concepts of this visualization. So we have now covered the most basic and the important types of plots that we can work on, starting from univariate, bivariate, or for the continuous variables, as well as comparison of this bivariate for 2 continuous, as well as the 1 categorical and 1 continuous variable also. Okay. So as a summary, you had seen the different types of plots like dist plot for a univariate analysis, joint plot for bivariate, pair plot for the multivariate, as well as you see in the strip plot. And to make it more better, we made use of swarm plots. We also understood how box plots have been displayed, which will be helpful in understanding the outliers in the given data set, as well as we saw the bar plots, and also to have the count the number of observations in a given data set, we used count plot, as well as finally we have a point plot as well. So these are the different types of plotting which we saw in a CBA. So thanks for watching, guys, and enjoy machine learning. Thank you.